and welcome to the next episode of Veterans Onward to Prosperity. I'm your host, Master Sergeant Retired Anna Maria Bliven. Today's episode is one that is going to be perhaps a shocker for some folks, but it's also one that's got a lot of hope connected with it as well. You know, life throws us curveballs. And depending on how we handle those curveballs, makes it so that we get through them. Onward to Prosperity, Veterans Onward to Prosperity is all about getting through those curveballs, getting through those misfires, getting through those moments where we think to ourselves, oh, if I could only get out of this because it's so painful. Well, this episode today is going to be one of information resources and sources that I hope that you will learn and take away from and get through all of your moments of those times that you just can't stand it, that you want so bad to get out of that situation. Well, now you can, and you can move forward. And my guest today is going to show you how she did it and how you can do it too. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these messages.
Mike Merwin here, U.S. Navy retired submarine officer turned entrepreneur. I turned my hobby of 25 plus years making beef jerky into a thriving small business. Made in small batches with only high quality ingredients, it's not good, it's crazy good. A portion of all proceeds helps save military lives. Order now on www.crazymikesjerky.com using code CB10 for 10% off.
Welcome back. I'm Master Sergeant Retired Anna Maria Bliven, that is privileged and pleased to introduce you to Nicci Dougherty, our guest for today. Nicci, how are you doing today?
Fine, thank you. So excited to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to have you. You know, your journey through your tunnel of darkness experience is one of an inspiration. And when you first shared that with me, I was like, oh my gosh, give me some of that strength, give me some of that knowledge, you know, because like I was saying before, when we misfire in life, we need to know what to do and where to go and how to get through this. So would you please give us a short version of what happened to you?
Definitely. Oh my goodness. It's like looking back, where do we start, right? Well, it started, of course, being in the military. I wanted to join the military. As soon as I got out of high school, my family thought I was absolutely nuts. No one had really been in the military. And not knowing that right before I was due to get out of the Army, I would be shipped off to Iraq for a year in 2003. So that's where my journey began. In 2003, we went to Iraq for a full year. Of course, I was super young in my 20s. I went to Iraq, came back home. And of course, at that moment, going through a lot, trying to transition back into civilian world. I got married, then I got divorced. I had a baby before we got divorced. I tried to go back to school. You try to get back acclimated into the civilian life, but your brain doesn't shut off from being at war. So on the outside, I was trying to build this normal civilian life, but on the inside, my brain and my mind was still pretty much in Iraq, fighting for survival, watching my back, having panic attacks, dealing with PTSD, dealing with all the things that come with war, even though it wasn't always showing on the outside. So it would be I struggled with that for about 10, 15 years. It would be a very long journey of a lot of mental challenges. Like I said, divorce, being a single parent. I didn't grow up as a single parent, so I didn't know how to be a single parent. I went through a lot of emotional roller coasters until about 13 years into it. I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I don't want to be this way anymore. I don't know what steps to take, but I knew what I didn't want anymore, Anna Maria. And it was at that point I was so committed, focused, and determined to do the work to set myself free from my own self.
So did you go to a center? Did you, I mean, who was it that helped you and how did you get the help?
Definitely. So of course, first things first, I contacted the VA. I started seeing someone there once a week. Well, once a week for an hour was not going to get the job done. And the tools that the therapist was telling me to do, I really didn't want to do. I was still scared and afraid to sleep in the dark and afraid to be in parking garages and sit in a restaurant and just driving myself nuts. Until for me and my journey, I had to join a good church. For me and my journey, it came for me from reading my Bible. It came for me for getting closer to God and really finding out what the Word of God was saying about me and my life and for me, so I could reprogram my mind. I literally had to make a conscious effort to reprogram my mind. So I joined a very great church, not knowing I was in Ohio at the time, not knowing that my pastor was going to open up a location in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was working for the government in Ohio at that time, and my life was starting to kind of turn around from filing bankruptcy and going to therapy for a little while. And I had lived with my mom a few years after my divorce, and I finally got an apartment and was ready to look into buying a home. And I was in the government working for a great job. My military had rolled over, my military time. I was in a good career and thought, wow, my life is finally turning around for the good. Not knowing the Lord was going to call me to go on a spiritual journey where it all will eventually unfold. But I didn't know that at the time. I knew in my heart of hearts that I wanted more. I knew that purpose was calling me. I knew that where I was no longer where I wanted to be. So I decided to listen to the voice inside of me because purpose was calling me so strong. I quit my government job, cold turkey, withdrew my daughter from school. She didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to her friends. She was on winter break. She didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to her friends. But I knew in my heart that we were being pulled and called to come to North Carolina to start our life over. Sometimes I even crack myself up thinking, wow, you really did that. It's been about 6 years ago since I did that. And it seemed like I was giving up everything in the natural, but my spirit was calling me to something more. And I knew I had to make a change. What I was doing was not working. And sometimes we're so afraid to follow that voice within, but it was that voice within that led me to come to Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, we came here homeless. We came here penniless. I was jobless, but I wasn't hopeless, Anna Maria.
There's the T. There's the tip. Hope.
I wasn't hopeless. I had a wonderful life in Ohio after those 13 years of doing the work, but I wasn't fulfilled. On the outside, I was very successful. It seemed like I was getting my life back on track, but on the inside, I was unfulfilled. I was unhappy. I was still having moments of anger and PTSD and nightmares and panic attacks, and I just wanted to be free. So I found hope. For me, hope came from God. For me, hope came from my church family, from reading my Bible and really, like I said, finding out what the Spirit of God was saying for me in my life. So I figured, hey, I quit my government job, but at this time I have a master's degree in business. I have 2 bachelors and I'm a combat veteran. I figured I can get a job in North Carolina in no time, right? Wrong. I could not get a job to save my life. And I thought, what is going on? And I said, God, I never questioned coming here. I know I'm supposed to be here, but I said, God, you have to open up a door for me to make ends meet financially. How can I sustain myself? I was almost making 6 figures with the government before I left. And here I can barely get a job. So I started delivering pizzas. I started delivering DoorDash. I was so mad delivering that food for like $5 an hour, right? Not knowing I am in my purpose and don't know it, because what was happening now looked nothing like my life before. And even though I knew I wanted something more, I was still comparing my now to everything that I left.
Oh, now that's another key. That's another key. Okay, so we're going to get back to that right where we left off, right after this message.
Hey everybody, join us for the Smash Party, nationwide Smash Party, to smash out all of our stress, the stress that has been accumulating for over the COVID-19 pandemic. Get it all out. Smash out that frustration, that disappointment, that anger. Get it all out. 15 minutes of smashing, and then we be calm. Breathe. Just breathe and relax.
Okay, we are definitely going to get right back to where we left off. Because comparing yourself to what you were doing, to what you're doing now, to what you may be doing, again, that's playing with the mind. We can't play with the mind. We have to move forward in the path that we are given. And my gosh, your path went from Ohio to North Carolina in faith.
In faith.
So that's another element, isn't it? We're kind of giving this away.
Yes, we are. We are.
So one thing at a time. So we have a hope and we move in faith. Ooh, I can't wait for the next part.
And it's a beautiful story the way it unfolds. But Anna Maria, it was not beautiful going through it.
No.
So anyone watching, if what you're going through is not beautiful, it will become beautiful. And I'm here speaking from the end point, but the middle and the beginning was not pretty. And it took over 10 years. But it was just one day I decided that enough was enough and my life must change at that point. So, and I didn't have hope. And I thought I was going to stay in the mental challenges and the PTSDs and the panic attack, because the VA was just helping me kind of cope with it. There wasn't necessarily a cure, right?
No, you were in that tunnel of darkness and you didn't see a light.
There was no light. And I figured, oh my God, am I really going to be like this forever? Am I going to be a snappy mom, an irritated mom, an up and down a roller coaster? And my daughter, and she was very small at the time, doesn't know if mommy's going to be happy today or sad or angry. Am I really going to be on that roller coaster forever? And I'm like, I had kind of accepted that, but that's not what I wanted. I didn't want just to take medicine, just to be a motionless robot. I wanted a cure. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be whole. I wanted to know that freedom was possible. Yeah, right? I wanted to know that freedom was possible from this. So, okay, I'm in North Carolina now. Can't get a job. Barely making ends meet. My daughter was 8 at the time, about 8. She's in the back seat playing with her Barbies, playing with stuff because we have no family here, right? And I didn't know a lot of the church, because everybody that was at my church, we all moved from another location because this was a new church. So no one really knew each other. I had been serving with my pastor in the old church for many years, and I really felt the call to come here and start over. my life was changing as I was in my pastor's church back in Ohio. So I'm here in North Carolina now. 2 years goes by and I'm watching everybody else. Here, this is another thing too. We can't look at everybody else. I'm watching everyone else come here, get a job, get an apartment, get on their feet. And it looks like their life is just coming together, or they're being able to transfer their jobs and come here and not have any struggle. And I'm still delivering pizza and DoorDash 2 years later, barely making ends meet, but walking by faith every single day. See, I gave up, it appeared at the time, I gave up everything in the natural, but I was gaining so much more in the spirit. I was learning who I really was created to become. So I'm delivering pizzas, and I went to my pastor crying one day. I'll never forget it. I'm like, Pastor, I need you to please pray, ask God, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm delivering pizzas. I'm barely making ends meet and toting my whole journey. And he knew I was from Ohio. And he looked at me and has said, Nicci, maybe that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And I said, Pastor, I know that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Can't you just pray? You're the pastor and tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'll never forget what he said. This has been several years ago. He looked at me and said, Nicci, you need to turn your light on. You need to let your light shine. Flip the switch.
Wow. You're telling me that in the tunnel of darkness is all around us. We, within ourselves, can turn the light on? Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Turn the light on. And I thought at the time, Pastor, I really don't need a parable right now. Please, just tell me what I'm supposed to do. But see, he left it still all up to me. He said, flip your switch, turn your light on. And that stuck with me for about another year or so. Still delivering pizza, still delivering DoorDash, making little odds and ends jobs. I still cannot get an office job. I finally started to become at peace with that. Because if it was supposed to happen, it would have, because I was fully qualified in my credentials. So I had to understand, okay, I need to be at peace where I am and stop trying to make something work that's not working. And I started, going into myself, what am I missing? If my pastor is saying, flip the switch, turn my light on, basically it's all, in me. I'm walking by faith. Faith is the things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
That's right.
So I'm talking to myself, walking myself through this. I'm coaching myself. What are you not seeing? So at DoorDash, when you have extra food, if someone, isn't home and you're delivering your food, or if someone decides not to pick their food up, you get to keep the food. I was eating, my daughter was eating. We began to have even more leftovers. So I've always had a passion for helping the homeless. Even growing up, I saw my mom helping the homeless. I enjoy helping homeless, men and women, stopping, praying for them, loving on them, and feeding them. I would always go and stop what I'm doing and go try to get, someone McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever they wanted to eat. So as I'm in uptown Charlotte, I like to deliver the pizzas and the food there because it's business and people are always there constantly ordering. So as there's extra food, I would start feeding the men and women in uptown Charlotte. I began to know their names. I began to know where they would be. I began to have conversations with them, praying for them, kind of building a relationship. I would bring them blankets from my house. One guy even asked me to wash his clothes. I mean, we had relationships. I knew who was going to be at what stoplight or, McDonald's when. I knew everyone's movement because I was there every day, 8 hours a day. So one year I was talking to my mom. It's like, she's in Ohio still. I left all family. I'm here by myself. I was talking to my mother in Ohio about the middle of December. This was 2019, middle of December. And I said, Mom, I really want to pass out Christmas stockings to all my homeless men and women that I've met, in uptown Charlotte. This is like a week before Christmas. There was no way I could put together something like that. Anna Maria, about 3 days before Christmas came, a package shows up at my door with everything needed to pass out 20 Christmas stockings from my mother from Ohio.
Wow.
It's on my Instagram page. It's on my Facebook page, my 20 little stockings. I was so proud of those stockings. Me and my daughter went out and got, everything needed to make sandwiches and chips. And I put $2 in each stocking. It brought me so much joy.
That's another key.
My light is shining, right? I didn't realize it just yet, though. The second year, we passed out 50 stockings on my website. At this point, I was telling one of my good sisters in Christ that goes to church with me, I said, my light really shines and I feel so empowered when I'm helping others. And then the light came on to what my pastor said. That is what I was called to do. Now, I just did that out the goodness of my heart. That's just something that I'd always loved to do. Not knowing the Lord was putting me right in the middle of my purpose, delivering pizzas, only making $5-6 an hour, but I'm spreading faith, hope, and love.
There you go.
I started spreading that, and I could see when I would hug the men and women, the homeless men and women in the community, and just treated them like a person and began just to pray for them and just to speak into their life and to love on them and then bring them food, they would light up. I would light up. They tell me stories about their life and they would cry and I would cry, like we were having this connection. And then I heard, you need to start a nonprofit. And I said, what? Start a nonprofit? How do you do that? This is just something I love to do. So it was out of my darkness. It was out of the tunnel. It was out of me leaving my whole entire life from Ohio, seeking something more inside of me to where I landed right in the middle of my purpose to start a nonprofit of faith, hope, love for veterans.
Yes. And we're going to tell the audience more about that right after these messages.
Let me introduce you to Frank Sinclair. He has a business called Dream Again Business Consulting. Frank believes that you were put on this earth for a specific reason. It's his job to find out why. If we follow the natural course of your life and your story, it always leads to your purpose.
Hi, my name is Julia Ramaldi. Please come join us on the Just Affiliate channel. Please stay tuned, we have amazing guests.
Genius is common. Did you know that we all have a genius inside of us just waiting and screaming to come out? Did you know that we all have innate abilities and skills inside of us? That is our genius. I'm Nicci Dougherty. I am known as the Motivational Mindset Superwoman. I am a business coach. I'm a life strategist. And I am here to help you shift your mindset so your genius can come out. Genius is common. I want to know, what is your genius? When we think of genius, do you think of yourself? Do you think of your skills, your abilities, the things that you do that make you one of a kind? Well, we are all a genius. I'm a genius. You're a genius.
Hi, and welcome back to Veterans Onward to Prosperity. I'm your host, Master Sergeant Retired Anna Maria Bliven, and we have been listening to an incredible and highly inspirational story from Nicci Dougherty, who is the founder of
Faith, hope, love for veterans.
There you go. But she's also got another business connected to that, and that is to help everybody get through all of their moments where they're in a tunnel of darkness.
That's right. So, of course, 18 years ago, I didn't see that when I was in the sands of Iraq. I didn't see that when I came home going through all my mental challenges, that once I worked out my situation, I would be able to help others. Right. So we often feel like, why am I going through this? Why me? Well, It's for you to survive whatever you're going through so we can help the next person out of it. So we can tell the next person, hey, I got through this. I know where you're at, but I also now know where you're going because I'm there on the other side of PTSD, panic attacks, anxiety, limiting beliefs, stinking thinking, as we used to say in the Army, in my brain, right? Stinking thinking. I am on the other side of that. So once again, remember, I've always loved to encourage, inspire, and uplift others, even when I was going through my own situations. You could always find me at Barnes and Nobles or Starbucks, encouraging and mentoring. And I'm a people person. I am. Now, I have a teenage daughter. Teenagers are not really that, much of a people person. And she's always, Mom, why are you always talking to somebody? And Mom, why are you always, trying to give somebody a story? And, I'm a people person at heart. I love people. So as I started my nonprofit, Faith, Hope, Love for Veterans, and constantly still encouraging, uplifting, and inspiring others, I started to notice that as I am, maybe at the coffee shop and somebody's down and out. And at this point, because I am free from a lot of the challenges that I went through, I'm bubbly, I'm upbeat all the time, I'm smiling all the time, I'm speaking to everybody. And when I see someone down and out, normally I'm able to start a conversation with them to kind of get them to open up, and I end up encouraging them. And I'm seeing others' lights shine. I'm seeing hope come back in other people. I was at a restaurant one day, and I said, I always ask, because now I'm in a military town in Charlotte, North Carolina, do you have a military discount? So I show my ID because I want all my benefits, Anna Maria, right? I want all my benefits.
Absolutely.
So I always ask, do you have a military discount? So this one gentleman was ringing me out. I was getting my lunch, and he says, man, I wanted to go to the military. And I said, you did? Well, what happened? He started telling me a story about how he didn't get to go, and now he's working where he's working now, and he's kind of unfulfilled. And he seemed like a fairly younger gentleman. And he says that I want to go back to school and I want to do this, but, and I said, well, what's stopping you? And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, if you're unfulfilled in this position, what's stopping you from living out your dreams? What's stopping you from access that purpose and that calling that's pulling on you still? Why do you want to remain kind of stuck where you're at? I said, I'm sure the position you're in is a great position. I'm sure you love your job, but that's not where your heart is. That's not where you're passionate. And he says, are you a motivational speaker? I said, no, yes. I said, I just love encouraging people. I just love reminding people that they have the power within themselves to create the life that they want to live the moment they decide to. And that gentleman says, wow. Now, mind you, this is a 5-minute conversation. He says, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to, like, his whole life changed from this one conversation. And he says, wow, I'm really going to do this. Thank you so much. And I walked out of that restaurant that day thinking, I really have to start my own coaching and mentoring practice to pour back into people everything that I was able to overcome, to let them know that freedom is possible, right? Yes. Freedom is possible, Anna Maria, but we don't know that going through it. So now in my coaching practice, Walking in Power and Purpose Academy, now my passion is women, of course, because I was a wife, I'm a mother. I know how it feels to be a combat veteran, to be a war soldier, and trying to just juggle everything. So not that I don't help men, but my passion is women. So in my academy, I help women really regain control over their life. And I'm going to run this just down to the ground because freedom is possible.
Yes, I know.
And
I know. I know. Oh my gosh. Because this is the reason why we're having this conversation. We are in the month of Mission Freedom Possible. And oh my goodness gracious. I hope my audience understands the golden gem that you just gave us all. If we're in a tunnel and it's dark, turn the light on.
And the light is within ourselves. And it's like the Wizard of Oz, how Dorothy had everything she needed within her. And another tagline I say is, everything you need is already on the inside of you. I heard that for years, but I'm like, What are you talking
Okay.
about? I need this. I need
All right.
that.
So Nicci, we have an instant application of what it is that you're teaching us.
Okay.
All right, listen up. If you're a female veteran, or if you're even a man and you were in the Marines, and you found yourself stationed either for training or permanent party at Fort McClellan, Alabama, Nicci and I have something to share with you, but we're going to get you through this.
Yes.
At Fort McClellan, Alabama, we were all, and that includes me, because I was there for basic training in 1980, and I graduated in the very last class of an all-female basic training company. She and I were there, you were there, we were all exposed to what they call it, a toxic soup. And it's not good news. And I hate to be the bearer of this news, but y'all have to know.
Yeah.
Because it's the truth.
Yeah.
But we can't let that put us in a tunnel of darkness and leave us there forever. You just heard from Nicci. No matter what circumstances we happen to find ourselves in, no matter what circumstances, we have the power within us to turn the light on.
Yes.
We're always looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. Well, guess what? We don't need to be looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. We can be the light inside the tunnel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Do you know how freeing that is? Because if you're in the tunnel and you're waiting for something to happen that all of a sudden gives you a light at the end of it, you're going to be waiting a long time. She waited 10 to 13 years until one day she realized, I've got the light within me. I can turn it on. It's a choice. It's a decision. And you have the power to do that. Holy cow, Nicci. You have unlocked a lot of futures. Unlocked a lot of futures. And I'm so, so grateful that you have come on our show, Veterans Onward to Prosperity, and given us the key that will unlock that door and get us out of the tunnel of darkness.
Right.
I am so grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show and for sharing your incredible and inspiring story.
Thank you.
We will be with you right after this message. I'm so happy. Ron salutes as a LinkedIn business strategist and relationship advisor. He's the co-author of 21 Days to Success with LinkedIn. He's a guest speaker for the U.S. Army on veteran transition. Contact Ron at his website.
I'm Zach Damon, host of the Disability Channel Detroit. Please join us at the Disability Channel and watch the Disability Channel Detroit for all your Michigan disability information.
So we're wrapping up this episode with Nicci beside me because we just delivered some devastating news for a lot of our viewers. You didn't know that when you were at Fort McClellan, Alabama, that you were actually breathing air, drinking water, and training in the ground in very contaminated environment. If you're not sure what it is that I'm talking about or we're talking about, please take a moment and Google it. All you have to do is go Fort McClellan toxic exposure and you'll get all of the truth. The VA wants to shove it under the rug, but we're living with the truth. Perhaps now a lot of dots will be connected in knowing what it is that you went through with your health and maybe your kids' health. But guys, we just shared with you that no matter what happens in life, you can get through it, you will get through it, but you got to decide to get through it. So, having known that you now have the power within you, please turn the light on.
Turn the light on.
Turn
Flip
the
the
light on.
switch.
That's the switch. You have the power. So next week, we're going to continue talking about how we can have that power and make us free
Yes.
in the Mission Freedom Possible month of July. So don't miss another moment of this broadcast so that you can continue to learn these incredible keys to living your life the way you want to and should and be fulfilled in your purpose. Until then, for next week, be the best you can be.
Yes. Turn your light on.